Alright, so I started getting ahead of myself again like usual, but I bolted the mounts to the case. Now I got two pieces of 3-inch wide, 1/4-inch angle that is gonna weld to the side here. I'm gonna get the box up in here and try to center it as best as I can and see where I need to actually put that plate in relation to here. Back, forward, I don't know yet. And then I want to put it on the front bar here because that's more forward. Worst case scenario, I'll have to move it to the center bar. But I also have a problem up here where the floor is for the quick change cover to come off, so I'm gonna weigh my options. I know it's about 6 inches from one bar to the other, and if I stuck it in the middle bar, it would pretty much be center of the wheelbase. I won't have to run a little jack shaft out the back on the back side of this coming out to the rear. So I don't know, guess we're gonna get it in there and see. We're in there pretty square. I've been standing here thinking about what exactly I want to do to mount this to the chassis. So I have a couple options. Like I said, the plate there, weld it 90. It'll weld to the bottom of the tube, and I'll have two tubes coming off to it, kind of like a piece of angle iron. Or I got some other tubing I can run to that center tube up, weld this to that tube, and then go forward with it. Alright, after a couple days of thinking, I'm taking all three of these bars out across, and I already have some bent up. The middle is, I believe, 1 inch higher than the other two, so I have a 3.5 inch bend in there, and then on the ends I got a 2.5 inch bend. I'm gonna cut and sleeve and plug weld, and it should be good. And I'll run a couple supports in between. That should be good. I'll be able to drop the box down to the height of the bar, maybe even lower. I don't know yet, I gotta look. But I have decided that this cross member is gonna come out also. I'm gonna push that forward, and I'm gonna push the box forward as far as I can, down as far as I can. Alright, so I got my 3 bars. I got this marked 2 inches. I'm gonna start in the front, cut that one out, cut the middle out, and then I'll tack in the center, tack in the end, and then I'll come back to the rear side and cut that one out and tack it in. Now I'm gonna be doing 1/2 inch plugs and sleeving with some 1.5 material here. I'll be cutting that down probably 2 inches each side, because I can only go so far. So maybe I'll go do more. I gotta look at it and see how far I can slide it in the pipe after I cut it. If I can go more, I'm definitely gonna go more. So we'll get going on this now. Alrighty, we cut these bars out. I'm faced with a little more trouble than I think. No big deal. I already got an idea of the center. I'll be able to do normal. The outers, I had thought it was a 2 inch tube all the way through, but it's not on the outside here, right in this area. Obviously I got the tubes cut. I got the fillers cut. You know, they slide in pretty good. This one's a little, I just drilled the hole, so it's got to burn the inside, but they slide in there and in the chassis. Now this is the center hoop, and then I was tired of doing shit by hand, so for 160 bucks. I just bought this Ryobi belt sander. Honestly, it already saved me hours of work. Alright, so I got this in here. It actually went in pretty easy once I got these clamps on. I got those off Amazon. They're like 36 bucks or something for the two. I measured, and it's pretty square, so these work decent for the money. The sleeves went in pretty good. I used a little prick punch, as you can see the marks there, to get it over. Kind of helps keep it in place for the spots past. And then but they both went in easy, front to back. This tube, you know, everything lines up the way it's supposed to. So I'm just gonna throw a couple tack welds, you know, in where I can get at it, and move on to the next tube. It ain't going nowhere. I leaned on it, so now I gotta work on the front here. And then once I get both of those in, I'll cut the back, polish these tubes up. So it's gonna get a little tricky in here. I have, as you see, the other tube went in. It was just a 2-inch piece of DOM. When he did the cross member, like I said, he sleeved it 2-inch with 1 3/4 on the inside. So I got some 1 1/2. So basically, I have to weld this inside the new tube, the 1 3/4, and then I can use the 1 1/2 to sleeve both. I got pretty nice, a little bit easier than last time. So I made the 4 for the front and the back. Hit it real good, made a nice big old radius on that, so when I weld it, it penetrates well. On the inside of the next of the 2-inch tube, so that should work good. I bought a 12 gauge 12-3 wire for extension cord. I just tested it out, solved all the problems. Like I said, the inner and outer, the front and back, whatever, cross members, they are already sleeved, so this is how they are when I cut them. Obviously not tacked on the edges, but 2-inch 1 3/4, and then I have the 1 1/2s in the freezer right now to help make it slide a little better. But I already plug welded top and bottom on both sides. I'm gonna drill 2 more holes, top and bottom on each side for the 1 1/2, and I gotta go drill the chassis, plug weld all that together. Alright, I just got back from a little drive. I ended up picking up some PEI mid and front plates for that thing over there. I know I gotta set on there, but the transmission area has a big difference from the other one. Plus these are a little taller. I think they're 13 inches versus the 12. So I got this tube in here. I'm gonna weld the tops, and then get everything out of the way, clean up, and get the shocks off, get the fuel cell out. And I got a strap there. I'm gonna strap it right there, lift it up, put it on its side, finish weld the bottom, and then cut the top bar out. Get in here a little bit, cut this bar out, and then I can start mocking up my transfer case again. Well, made a bigger mess in the garage, but me and a buddy picked this thing up. We were gonna use the strap in my engine hoist, but we picked this up by hand and just we put it on its side without smashing the ground. Scratched the floor up a little bit with the cradle, trying to just move it over, but this thing is pretty damn light. And we're no bodybuilders or anything like that, so I'm gonna get these tubes welded in, get the plug welds done, finish the seams, and that's a wrap on that. Ready to upright it and start mounting the transfer case and everything back in it. Well, got all that all done. I was able to use my engine hoist and bring the chassis back that way further, and then I don't know how the hell I did it, but I just picked it up and there it is. But I'll get a couple buddies over here tomorrow to help me put it back where it was, and then I'm gonna look into cleaning up these 2 tubes here that I cut, and we'll start getting the drop box in here again, see where we're at. I've had this drop box in and out quite a few times with the mounts, but I have it exactly where I want it now. It is like 3/8 below the upper rails. I put a piece of aluminum across. I can get my fingers in between, say, what's going to be the floor and the top of the transfer case. So I just got to pull it out one more time and clean up all the crap on here, get a nice clean metal, and tack them in. Alright, pulled the transfer case out, ground everything, cleaned everything up, brackets. Just gonna double check the level, make sure everything's square in there. And then I got some Welding anti-splatter. I'm just gonna spray some in there so I don't get shit everywhere. And we're gonna tack this thing in. And I also, the tube that went across, I cut most of it off. I just gotta clean the rest of it up. So, looking good. Transfer case mounts are in and tacked in place and ready for a better welder to really melt them in good. So, I think it came out good. That was my first time notching tubing and putting them in at an angle too. So, came out pretty good. Next video, I know this one was kind of boring. I didn't get really much of the working on stuff. Sucks doing this, but in spare time alone. But we are doing axle housings, so I gotta do machine a couple more things for that, and then hopefully those will be together relatively soon. And then I'm gonna, once I figure out how to prop the transmission up, which is probably what I'm gonna do here next, and get the motor all together and get all that and make sure the slip is good, and then start making mounts for the frame so we can bolt these mid and front plates too. But I also got my other 614. So I have a 620 for the rear, 614 in the front. We got the locker and spool up there, so we're gonna do another video on that, installing and taking all the backlash out of these. But making progress. Share, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.